The sky above Novark shimmered with two suns, painting the colony in gold and silver light. The wind carried the sound of humming engines and the distant voices of settlers building new homes. Among them lived a young human girl named Mira Dalton. She was 16, bright, curious, and always asking questions her parents could barely answer. Her father worked as an engineer, fixing power relays and defense grids. Her mother studied alien artifacts that had been discovered in the ruins. Surrounding the colony, Mira often followed her mother to those ruins. She liked the quiet there, the blue stones that glowed faintly when she touched them. Sometimes, she would bring her small drone named Echo, a floating sphere that followed her like a loyal pet. Echo could record voices, scan surfaces, and even make silly jokes when Mira felt lonely. The girl had a peaceful life, even though the planet was strange and still half wild. One morning, everything changed. A transport ship landed outside their settlement, covered in silver dust from deep space. Mira and her parents stood near the landing pad as the ramp opened. From the shadows stepped a tall figure in a long dark robe. His eyes were pale and reflective like polished metal, and his skin had a faint shimmer under the sunlight. Her mother's expression changed instantly from calm to nervous. She whispered something under her breath and then spoke louder. "Mira," she said softly, "this is your Uncle Carol. He's from my side of the family." Mira blinked in surprise. She had never met anyone from her mother's alien relatives. Her mother rarely spoke about them. Mira had thought her mother was human, but now she understood she was only half right. Carl smiled, though the smile looked strange, like he had practiced it in front of a mirror. "So this is the child," he said in a slow, calm voice. The human side shows strongly in her eyes.
Oh.
Mira smiled politely and nodded, but something about him made her skin tingle. His gaze felt heavy, as if he was reading her thoughts. Her father shook the alien's hand. "Welcome to our home. We didn't know you were visiting." Carl tilted his head. "The message must have been lost in transmission. I came to see how the child is adapting. She carries a connection to both worlds. That makes her special." That evening, Carol stayed in their home. He didn't eat human food, only drank a clear liquid that shimmered faintly in his glass. Mira sat across from him at dinner and noticed how he watched her with calm curiosity. Her mother tried to fill the silence with small talk, but her voice trembled. Her father remained polite, yet cautious. When night came, Mira couldn't sleep. She kept hearing strange sounds, a soft humming, a pulse like a low heartbeat that came from the guest room. She told Echo to record it. The drone floated quietly in the hallway and captured the sound. The next morning, Mira checked the playback, but the file was blank. Echo said, "No audio found." That was impossible. Carl began visiting her daily. He said he wanted to teach her about the Vorath, the alien race her mother came from. He said the Vorath believed in mind harmony, the ability to shape thoughts and emotions. Mira listened politely, but she didn't understand much. He told her to close her eyes and imagine calm water. When she did, she felt something brushing against her thoughts, like invisible fingers trying to touch her mind. She opened her eyes quickly. Carl smiled and said, "You learn fast." At first, she thought he was helping her, but then things started to feel strange. She began forgetting small things, where she placed her notebook, what she planned to do next. She would wake up in the middle of the night and find herself standing by the window, looking at the stars without knowing why. Her father noticed her behavior. One evening, when Carol was outside, he spoke to her quietly. "Sweetheart, do you trust him?" Mira hesitated. "I don't know. He's family, right?" Her father frowned. "Family doesn't stare at you like a lab project. Just be careful. Record everything, even if it looks harmless." From that night on, Mira used Echo to record every moment Carl spent with her. She pretended to be an eager student. She asked him questions, listened to his lectures, and smiled when he talked about ancient knowledge. But secretly, she marked every time the lights flickered, or her thoughts went fuzzy, or Echo's sensors glitched. One afternoon, while they sat near the colony dome, Carl said something that made her uneasy. "Humans are fascinating," he murmured. "So much chaos inside such small minds." but chaos can be trained. You could learn to control others with enough focus. Mira's heart skipped a beat. Control others? She asked softly. Carl looked at her calmly. It is natural. Strong minds lead, weak ones follow. That is how the universe balances itself. She pretended to agree, but her stomach tightened. She remembered her mother's warning from long ago that the Vorath had once enslaved weaker species using mental influence. They called it guidance, but it was still control. Later that evening, Myra reviewed the footage Echo had taken. She slowed it down and noticed something strange. Each time Carl spoke to her, faint light patterns flickered across his eyes. Echo's sensors identified them as low-frequency signals, waves meant to affect the human brain. Mira understood then. He wasn't teaching her. He was testing her. Over the next days, she began preparing quietly. She read her mother's research notes, learning how Vorath energy waves interacted with human neurochemistry. She created a small device with Echo's help, a signal jammer disguised as a bracelet. If Carl tried to use his power again, it would disrupt his focus for a few seconds. One night, she worked on it in her room. Carl appeared silently in the doorway. His silver eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. "You are awake late," he said softly. Mira hid the bracelet under her sleeve. "I was just studying," she said. He stepped closer. "Your thoughts are loud tonight." Our hands trembled slightly. "What does that mean?" Carl smiled. "It means you are becoming aware. That is good. But you must learn to let go of fear. Fear makes the mind weak." She nodded slowly, pretending to agree. "Then teach me how to be strong." He placed his hand on her shoulder. "Close your eyes." Mira obeyed. The air felt heavy. She sensed him reaching into her mind again, like a cold current pushing through warm water. But this time, she activated her bracelet. A pulse of light flashed, invisible to normal eyes but powerful enough to break the connection. Carl staggered slightly. His calm mask cracked for a moment. "You are clever," he said, his voice quieter now. "Too clever for your age." Mira looked up at him and smiled faintly. "You told me to learn fast." He studied her for a long moment, then left the room without another word. The next morning, he acted as if nothing had happened. But Mira could feel the tension growing. Days passed. The colony continued its work, unaware of the quiet battle happening inside one small home. Mira's mother tried to keep peace, while her father grew more protective. Carl spoke less, but his eyes followed Mira wherever she went. One afternoon, when Mira was alone near the ruins, Echo floated close and whispered, "Signal detected. Source, Carl. Direction, orbit." She looked up at the sky and saw nothing, but she knew what that meant. He was contacting someone off-world. She didn't know why, but her instincts told her it was not for anything good. She decided to act. She pretended to be sick the next day and stayed in her room. When Carl left the house, she sent Echo to trace his movements. The drone followed him to the outer cliffs, where he stood facing the sky, whispering in a language Echo could not translate. The air shimmered faintly around him, forming symbols that flickered and vanished. Mira saved the recordings and hid them in Echo's secure memory. She knew she couldn't confront him yet. She needed proof, and she needed a plan. That night, she looked out her window at the stars and whispered, "You may think I'm just a human girl, but humans learn faster than you expect." Echo blinked softly beside her. "Statement recorded," it said. Mira smiled, feeling a spark of confidence. Somewhere deep inside, she knew she was facing something dangerous. She also knew something the alien did not. Humans might be small, but their minds were built to adapt. And when cornered, they always found a way out. As the twin sons of Novark rose again, Ara stood at the window and watched their light spread across the settlement. Her uncle walked below, calm and unreadable. But she was ready now. The game had begun, and she was not the one being controlled anymore. Mira woke before sunrise. The air inside the dome was cold, and a faint hum from the colony's generators echoed through the walls. She sat near the window, watching the sky turn from dark blue to silver. Echo floated beside her, softly blinking. "Do you think he knows we are recording him?" she whispered. Echo's small voice replied, "Probability. 67%. But I am cloaked during surveillance. Mira smiled faintly. Let's keep it that way. Carl had become quieter since the night he discovered her bracelet. He no longer forced lessons every day, but his eyes followed her everywhere. Sometimes she caught him standing in the garden, motionless, as if listening to something far away. Her father had strengthened the home's shielding, pretending it was a safety upgrade. Her mother avoided eye contact with Carl completely. The family had started living as if under invisible watch, but Mira refused to stay afraid. She wanted to know the truth, why her uncle had come, and what he really wanted. That day, she joined him in the study room. The large window opened to the glowing plains outside. Carol stood near a table covered in alien crystals. He was turning one in his hand, the light reflecting off his silver eyes. "You are early," he said without looking at her. "I want to keep learning," she replied calmly. He turned, studying her face. "Learning is good. Humans learn quickly because they fear being left behind." "I don't fear being left behind," she said. "I fear being controlled." He paused for a moment, then smiled. "Spoken like a human, but control is not always bad. Order brings peace." Mira sat opposite him. Order built on someone's freedom is not peace. It's silence. Carl placed the crystal down. "You speak like your father," he murmured. "But your mind carries my sister's power. You can do things no human can." He gestured toward her. "Close your eyes. Feel the air around you." Mira obeyed, but stayed alert. She felt warmth flowing around her, like invisible waves. Then she sensed a pull, a soft whisper, urging her to think of him, to open her thoughts. It was gentle but steady, like a tide trying to drag her under. This time, she didn't resist immediately. She let it flow, then mirrored it. Using what she had learned from her mother's notes, she built a false pattern, a mental mirror. Carl thought he was reading her. She was reading him instead. She saw flashes images of a massive Vorith ship hidden behind the planet's moon, a council chamber filled with glowing figures, and her own image projected like a tool to be used. Mira's breath caught. She opened her eyes. Carol was watching her, his expression unreadable. "You felt something," he said quietly. "Yes," she answered. "I felt your fear." For the first time, he looked truly surprised. Then his expression softened again. But she had already seen the truth behind it. Later that night, Mira went to her father's workshop. He was fixing a damaged drone. "Dad," she whispered, "we need to talk." Her father looked up, tired but alert. She told him everything about the hidden ship, about the mind contact, about Carl S.'s plan. He listened carefully, his jaw tightening. "I knew he wasn't here for family reasons," he said. "He's trying to use your hybrid mind for something big," she said. "He wants to control people through me. Maybe even Earth's colonies." Her father sighed. "We can't confront him yet. We need proof and a way to protect you." Myra nodded. "I already have some recordings." Echo traced his transmissions. "He sends encrypted data to orbit every night." Her father's eyes widened. "If we can decode those signals, we'll know his plan." For the next few days, they worked secretly. Myra pretended to continue lessons, while Echo gathered more data. Her father built a decoder module, and her mother, though silent, provided alien symbols she remembered from her youth. Meanwhile, Carl became more cautious. He no longer spoke about control. Instead, he began praising humans. "You are unpredictable," he told Mira one evening. "Your kind bends reality through emotion." The Vorith never understood that. "Maybe that is why they fear you." Mira smiled faintly. "Maybe fear is healthy sometimes." He tilted his head. "Do you fear me?" "Not anymore," she said. "I understand you now." That answer unsettled him more than she expected. The following night, Echo finished decoding one of Carol's messages. Mira, her parents, and Echo gathered in the small workshop. The projection filled the room with pale blue light. The message was clear. Carl was reporting to a Vorath commander. He said the girl's mental strength had exceeded expectations. He requested extraction before human emotional instability corrupted her potential. Her mother gasped softly. "He means to take her away," she whispered. Mira clenched her fists. "Not if I stop him first." They decided to act carefully. Mira's father sent a hidden distress beacon to nearby human patrols. But the signal would take hours to reach. Until then, they had to stall. The next day, Carol came to her room uninvited. "Pack your things," he said calmly. "We are leaving." "Leaving?" she asked, keeping her tone steady. "The council requires your presence. Your training is complete." "I haven't agreed," she said quietly. Carl sighed, almost gently. "You do not understand. This is destiny." She met his eyes. "No, it's theft." For a moment, silence filled the room. Then Carol smiled again, but the warmth was gone. Humans always mistake guidance for chains. He turned to leave. "You will understand once we are aboard." After he left, Mira whispered to Echo. Phase 2. Echo's lights glowed. Affirmative. They activated the power loop they had built with their father, a subtle change in the colony's grid. It would reroute energy toward Carol's signal beacon, amplifying its output so far that any nearby human ship would detect it. That night, as Carol prepared the transport, Mira walked outside under the silver suns. She carried Echo hidden beneath her cloak. Her parents stood at the door, pretending to comply. Carl stood near the landing pad, his ship's engines already humming. "You made the right choice," he said. "You will see wonders beyond your imagination." Mira looked at him calmly. "I already see something." "You're afraid," he frowned. "Afraid? Of what?" "Of humans," she said softly. "Because we don't think like you do. You can predict patterns, but not choices. You can't read a heart that decides to break its own rules." Carol's expression hardened. "Enough talk. Board the ship." Mira took a slow step back. "Echo," she whispered. The drone activated a light pulse. The colony's grid roared to life. Massive beams of energy lit the sky as the amplified signal burst outward. Carol's eyes widened. "What have you done?" "Called for help," Mira said. "Your ship isn't the only one listening." Carl raised his hand as if to stop her, but the moment he reached forward, his control wave collapsed. The bracelet she wore flared again, stronger this time, using the colony's own power. His mental grip shattered like glass. He staggered back, dazed. For the first time, he looked unsure. "You used my own signal network against me," he whispered. Mira nodded. "You taught me well." Above them, the sky rippled. Distant lights appeared. Human patrol ships arriving faster than expected. Their presence filled the horizon with blue streaks of propulsion fire. Carl looked up, realizing his mission was failing. "They will not understand what you are," he said bitterly. "They will fear you too." Mira's eyes softened. "Maybe, but at least they'll let me choose who I want to be." Her words echoed between them like a final truth. The human patrols landed minutes later. Soldiers surrounded the area, but Carl made no move to resist. His ship powered down, and he looked at Mira one last time. "You could have been a bridge between worlds," he said quietly. "I still can be," she replied. "Just not your kind of bridge." When they took him away, he didn't fight. He only glanced back once, as if memorizing her face. Then the door closed behind him, and the silence that followed felt like the first real peace the colony had known in weeks. Later that night, Mira sat outside watching the stars. Echo hovered beside her. "Signal loop terminated," it said. "System stable." "Good work, partner," her father joined her, sitting down with a tired sigh. "You handled that better than any of us," he said. Mira looked at the sky. "He tried to teach me to control others. But I learned something else instead." "What's that?" her father asked. She smiled faintly. "That control isn't strength. Understanding is." Echo blinked softly in agreement. In the quiet of the alien night, human girl who had outsmarted her alien uncle closed her eyes and listened to the soft hum of the stars. She didn't feel small anymore. She felt infinite because she had proven that even in a universe filled with powerful species, a single human heart could still rewrite the rules.